and Parker Thune. Hit the guys up on the Riverwind Casino calling line at 405-329-9000. Text the show on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line at 405-651-3439. Live from the Buffalo Wild Wings studios, here's Mike Steely and Parker Thune.
All right, how we doing, everybody? Hope you had a great weekend. Welcome into Monday here in the Buffalo Wild Wings studios. Mike Steely, Parker Thune. Blake Gamble running the YouTube for us, and good to have you along for the ride today. We have so many things to talk about today, Parker. We had the Sooner women, of course, on Saturday, losing to UConn. They had the lead at halftime. They got outscored 50-23. They got Paige Beckerst in the second half as she had 40, but a great season for Jenny and company. We'll hear a little audio there coming up later. Softball, unfortunately, lost 2 of 3 to Tennessee. Obviously, Carlin Pickens was really good for the Vols. Sooners again. Again, this is a tougher situation for Oklahoma softball. We'll see if they can get back on track. They've got UTA coming up tomorrow night at UTA, and the OU baseball team lost 2 of 3 at Alabama. Over the weekend, the Thunder took down the Indiana Pacers. They've got Josh Giddey in the Bulls tonight. We'll see if Josh Giddey does play. He's questionable with a hip issue. I still think he's going to play, but we'll see. And, of course, we've got an all-chalk Final Four, Parker. Auburn in Florida and Game 1 in San Antonio coming up Saturday afternoon. And then we've got Duke and Houston in the nightcap. This is only the second time this happened. Of course, the all-chalk Final Four, all one seeds, 2008. You had Kansas, Memphis, North Carolina, and UCLA. Russell Westbrook's UCLA team, by the way. And, of course, Mario Chalmers and the Jayhawks won the national championship. How are you doing? Everything good?
Everything's great, Steely. I will say, weekend. Now that we're past all of the non-chaos of the NCAA tournament and we've gotten down to the Final Four, I am looking forward to what should be 3 outstanding basketball games come Saturday and then obviously come Monday night in the national championship game, because a little question in my mind, I think, at this point, that these 4 teams are the best 4 teams in college basketball. So should be a fun conclusion to the season.
Yeah, no doubt. And happy for Kelvin and Houston. That matchup with Duke's going to be really difficult. But they've got a great chance, man. Nobody's going to out-tough Houston. They got off to the great early start yesterday. And Tennessee, again, still looking for a Final Four. Not going to do it. Not yesterday against the Cougars, who got off to a great start and controlled much of the game. All right, but let's start with a little Oklahoma football. We're going to talk about the scrimmage coming up here in a minute. We've got Jesse Crittendon on your way at 1:20 from OU Insider. We'll talk softball, football, maybe a little bit of women's basketball. But let's start. Josh Pate was in Norman last week and was there, obviously, to talk to Brent Venables. And it dropped this morning on YouTube, on his podcast. And Brent said, some of the same stuff, maybe a little bit different take on a lot of the things he's already said. But one of the things Josh Pate asked him about, you talked about recently at your spring press conference that you really don't see the pressure. A lot of people, saying Brent is on the hottest coaching seat in college football heading into the fall. Brent said again with Josh Pate that he is comfortable dealing with that pressure.
I've always felt that that's a lifestyle, that mindset. It's just a lifestyle. I'm very comfortable in that space. And on the flip side, if you're doing life, if you're chasing passion, things that you love, if you're comfortable doing it, then you're probably doing it wrong. And so where's that balance? It's really hard, the challenges of winning and being successful, but something I've never shied away from. I've just looked it right dead in the eyeball and have gone right at it head first. Not flinching. Again, got clear vision on, the things that it takes to be successful and the things that I'm in control of. And there's so many components that you're not in control of. And so not getting distracted, not letting things that, again, I can't control affect you in any way, shape, or form. And be committed to doing things, living your life in a certain type of way. And so you got to run right towards all the suffering that helps shape you and develop you. That's where you you learn the most, not through, successes of life or the big wins in, your career. It comes from, the failure and the tough moments and the challenges and the hurdles that you got to climb through and over. And but got clear vision, and again, very comfortable in that space.
There you go. And we kind of heard the same thing again at his spring press conference. But, I think a lot of people, they hear that, oh, yeah, well, what's he going to say? Yeah, I feel the pressure. This is horrible or whatever. But I do think if you know about Brent's background, his upbringing, it wasn't an easy childhood.
No.
He's dealt with a lot that, he overcame that and became one of the best defensive coordinators in college football, been a part of, 3 national championships. So he's been through a lot. And here's another thing, again, that when you're dealing with the situation that family's dealing with right now with Julie's situation, maybe that minimizes. Football's obviously huge. Brent wants to keep his job, wants to be the coach at Oklahoma for a long time, but they're fighting another battle as well. So, I don't know if there's any new twist on that, Parker, but I don't know. I pretty much take Brent at his word right there. What about you?
I don't think Brent Venables, much like you described there, I think he's 100% sincere. I don't think there's any fear in his mind knowing what lies ahead for Oklahoma in the 2025 season. And that's not to say he's sure of the outcome, because none of us are sure of the outcome. There's a lot that hangs in the balance for this team in the 2025 season, a lot that we don't know, a lot that we won't know until the 2025 campaign rolls around. But I think with the additional ownership that he has taken, the additional creative control that he has taken over the defense in particular, Brent Venables is welcoming the challenge, right? He's not ducking any of the smoke. He's saying, all right, bring it on. We saw what the SEC could offer us in 2024. We saw what we're capable of. We certainly saw what it's like in this league when you are operating at a personnel disadvantage because of injuries and because of some of those natural deficiencies that Oklahoma had to fight through in the 2024 season. There's really nowhere to go but up from here. You've got a brand new offensive coordinator. You've got a brand new quarterback who knows the offense inside and out. Let's go. Oklahoma versus the world.
Yeah, and clearly, last year there were a lot of things. There was some bad coaching as well. Clearly they made the wrong hire at offensive coordinator. But the injuries and the other stuff. And look, as good as Barry Switzer was, won 3 national championships, whether you think he's the GOAT or Bud's the GOAT or Bob's the GOAT, whoever your GOAT is, they had an easier situation than Brent does now. Barry Switzer, when I was growing up, you might have one really tough non-conference game. Let's say 1977, you go to Columbus and take on Woody Hayes and the Buckeyes. Then you had the Texas game in the Cotton Bowl and Nebraska. Maybe one other difficult foe in the Big 8, perhaps. And maybe on a really tough year, you might have a couple, right? So it was a much easier road than what Brent is having to travel, particularly with the schedule the SEC threw at Oklahoma, the first 2 years in the conference. But again, they've got to be better. Got to be better. Brent has not proven himself as a head coach, as a passionate leader, and that stuff where I think most of the guys in that locker room really like and follow Brent Venables. He's been good, but the results on the field have not been good enough.
I have unfortunate but predictable news.
Okay.
Crabby Sooner is crabby. Crabby Sooner texted us and said, I'm not ready to listen to this televangelist for another season. Please shorten your answers.
I cut that response down by about 50%, by the way, so I did my best to shorten it, as I did with this one. One of the other topics is Brent calling the defense again, and Josh Pate asked him about that. BB said he's not concerned, that he has too many things going on to call the defense.
I'm not the director of Soul Mission, and I'm not in the interview process. So I've hired really good people that are really good in those different roles. Do I bear some responsibility there? Yeah, that's in the team meeting that I'm going to be in no matter what. So I've hired good people that can do a great job in those different roles. And but for me, again, at 23, I called the defense. Whether we're successful or not on offense or defense or as a team, it's a collaboration of all of us together. Instinctively, that's a very natural space for me. And I got a great staff that several of us have been together for a long time. So They give me a lot of layups in my role. And then there's a trust factor in, the people that I've hired. And so I've got position coaches, I've got linebacker coaches that are fantastic at what they do. Wes Goodwin, he's been a top 15, top 10, top 5 defensive coordinator. He's done a fabulous job, somebody I've been with for over a decade. And Nate Drowning, he's just a winner. All he does is win. 2 years ago, I called it. We won 10 games. We lost 2 one-score games on the road. If we make a field goal in one of them, we play Texas again for the Big 12 championship and a chance to go to the playoffs. So whatever we did that year it was decent. Not good enough, but it was decent. And I expect to be even better now. So I'm really excited about this role. And I looked at it like, why trust a first-time play caller at Oklahoma more than me?
There you go. Brent on being the defensive play caller again this season. So 405-651-3439, Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. Again, 405-651-3439. As always, first hour brought to you by Last Year Home Comfort Systems, 405-579-3113. That's 405-579-3113. And we want to thank Scissortail Roofing and Construction, scissortailroofing.com. If you've been hit by hail, wind, or storm damage, call Scissortail Roofing today at this number, 405-928-8089. That's 405-928-8089. Scissortail is your trusted local roofing company, serving the greater Oklahoma City metro and beyond for more than a decade. They're fully licensed and endorsed. For a free estimate, give them a call at 405-928-8089. We're getting into that storm season again. Please, no hail or, damaging winds. Every spring, this time, once we're close and get into spring, everybody's worrying about their roof and storm damage. Keep Scissortail Roofing in mind. Again, 405-928-8089, scissortailroofing.com. Okay, scrimmage. There was one, Thursday and one Saturday?
That is correct.
Cortland Guillory is a name that keeps coming up, too.
Boy. He's going to be good, Steely. That kid's going to be good. And, true freshman, right? So you do want to temper expectations somewhat, especially with the knowledge that Oklahoma, in all likelihood, is going to bring in a portal cornerback in the spring window. But Cortland Guillory's been getting a ton of first-team burn and has looked as good as any healthy cornerback on the Oklahoma roster. Now, you have to keep in mind, Gentry Williams has been limited as he works back from that shoulder injury. Eli Bowen is obviously on the shelf after sustaining that ankle injury first week of spring practice. But, man, there's been a window of opportunity, and Cortland Guillory has certainly seized the opportunity. He certainly played his way into consideration, heavy consideration, for a ton of snaps right off the bat here in 2025. Now, he's got to keep it up. He's got to do in fall camp what he's done in spring. But the early returns on Guillory have been exceptionally strong.
Yeah, that's those are the reports. And then you hear wide receivers, you're thinking about the top 3, when you think about Giovanni Gibson, Isaiah Satania with his pure speed, obviously Deion Burks. But a couple of the youngsters, again, over the weekend apparently stood out. Elijah Thomas, Manny Choice, going to be in the rotation, it looks like.
Elijah Thomas, yes. Manny Choice, not quite there yet, even though he has done some good things on the practice field. Thomas is just a lot more versatile, I guess, than Choice is. Choice is a pure outside receiver. That's what he is. Thomas, you can move him around a little bit. And so, to me, that is one of the things that's really going to enable a true freshman to carve out a significant snap count, in addition to just the freakish athleticism that we've talked about with Elijah Thomas. And so, at this point, you look at the veterans in that room, Giovanni Gibson, Keontez Lewis, Deion Burks, Isaiah Satania, etc. The equation at wide receiver is going to start with guys like that. But Elijah Thomas certainly trending towards a more permanent role in that committee at wide receiver. And I think Manny Choice is going to see the field. I don't know if he has as much of an impact as Elijah Thomas will in year one, but I think he'll see the field in some capacity.
All right, and we're hearing Will Huggins taking the first-team reps at tight end right now. Where's he from?
He is from Pittsburgh State in Pittsburgh, Kansas.
And Kent is the kid from Kennesaw, correct?
That is correct.
So, and we're hearing that when they kind of split out the tight end, Jaron Kanik is the guy, right?
Which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
He's the fastest guy in that tight end.
Absolutely it does. I like that. I like it a lot. Get him isolated on a linebacker. He's got great speed, good athleticism. So far, the reports we're hearing that he's catching the ball pretty well. So that might be a weapon for Oklahoma in the fall. Be great if it turned into a weapon. It would be big time for the Sooners, no doubt. All right, 405-651-3439, Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. That's 405-651-3439. We will get to some of your texts coming up. We're on YouTube as well. Hit the chat there. Get on YouTube and just search KREF Sports. It'll lead you right to us. We're live every day here on the Ref from noon to 3. Let's take a break, come back, hit the text, talk more Sooner football. We'll jump into some softball, a little women's basketball. We got a lot of stuff to get to today, so let's get to it when we get back here on the Home of Sooner Fans.
A true Sooner fan wouldn't be caught dead without the KREF app. Join the Army. Get the app. Tell your friends. This is the Ref, where diehard Sooner fans listen.
Oklahoma, get ready. Madness of March is here at Dorsey Jones Buick GMC. Unbelievable savings on new 2025 GMC Sierra 1500 crew cabs. Score big and take up to $11,250 off MSRP. Savings are huge, but hurry. When the clock runs out, so do the savings. Drive the best just 15 minutes west. Dorsey Jones Buick GMC, I-40 and Highway 81, exit 125 in El Reno, or dorsey-jonesbuickgmc.com. GMC, we are professional grade. See dealer for details.
Don't miss out on OKC's hottest entertainment at the Showplace Theater with acts like Boys to Men, April 18th. America, April 26th. Patti LaBelle, May 2nd. And Scotty McCreery, May 10th. Riverwind is OKC's favorite casino experience.
It's time for your certified most accurate forecast from KOCO5 First Alert Weather. Brought to you by Cavens Group. Do you have a water emergency? Give Cavens a call at 405-573-3048.
From the First Alert Weather Center, this is meteorologist Jonathan Condor with your KOCO5 News weather forecast. I'd grab a light jacket out the door this morning with temperatures in the 40s. Then as we go into the afternoon, pretty quiet. We'll have a mostly sunny sky, a northeast wind at 10 miles an hour, the highs in lower 60s. Becoming cloudy tonight, overnight lows upper 40s, and then tomorrow should be dry during most of the day, but very windy south winds, 25 gusting to 40 miles an hour with a cloudy sky. Get ready. We're expecting a round of severe weather coming in late Tuesday night through early Wednesday morning.
That was your certified most accurate forecast from KOCO5 First Alert Weather, brought to you by Cavens. Did you have a water emergency that you fear might turn into mold? Give Cavens Group a call at 405-573-3048 or visit cavensgroup.com today.
Mike Steely here for Lasher Home Comfort Systems, your trusted home comfort experts in the Oklahoma City metro area. Tim Lasher and his team have more than 130 years of combined experience. They recognize a significant number of homeowners live with inadequate home comfort systems. They specialize in diagnosing your home system issues while providing more efficiency and reducing your utility costs. As an authorized dealer of American Standard, Tim can service your residence or business. Call Tim and his team at 405-579-3113. Lasher Home Comfort Systems.
Hi, I'm Dr. Tina Floyd, your Norman School Board President. I'm running to continue representing our students because I believe that every child deserves a quality education and a bright future. As a mother of Norman Public School graduates, I know we need strong leadership to prioritize students so that all students can succeed. I'd be honored to earn your vote on April 1st. Visit floydfornorman.com to learn more.
Paid for and authorized by Tina Floyd for Norman School Board. Do you love sports and looking for a way to stay active? What's up? It's Grayson Singleton, and the fastest growing sport in America has a new home here in Norman. Hey Pickle Pickle is now open with 5 state-of-the-art indoor courts. Hey Pickle Pickle is perfect for you regardless of your level of experience. With food to keep you fueled up while you play, you can also book your courts online today at heypicklefun.com or visit them in person, located just west of Hayday off of Indian Hills in Norman. Hey Pickle Pickle is open each day, 7 days a week at 9 a.m., where fun meets fitness.
Wounded Warrior Project helps post 9/11 veterans and their families realize what's possible. With support and resources that bring warriors together and empower them to become stronger, both inside and out.
It's possible to begin healing, to get the help you need,
to find peace. And as each warrior's needs evolve, so do we. Because these last 20 years are just the beginning. Learn more at woundedwarriorproject.org/possible.
All right, welcome. I said almost wake up. I'm losing my mind. I'm not
Rage Against the Machine on the brain?
I'm not doing a morning show anymore. I almost said, wake up, everybody. I'm the one who needs to wake up. Jeez, old man, holy cow. You got your Metamucil this morning or what?
Have another sip of Monster Energy.
Yeah, I've got the Red Bull Zero today. Going with that. Going with Red Bull Zero. Bob Stoops, what did he call the new OU women's basketball recruit? They got Aaliyah Chavez last week, and he was asked about it this morning on the T-Row show.
How about them landing the number 1 player in the country, too?
Oh, my gosh, yeah. I've been following that, Aaliyah, anyway.
Bob, I know the feeling, man. The brain locks up a lot on me every day.
And, of course, it doesn't help that Toby can't say the names of players who aren't signed yet, and so he couldn't really lob that one up to Bob.
Yeah, maybe that's what happened with Bob. But I know that Bob, when he's ready to move on, that's what he'll go to. So anyway, but it sounded like OU just got a commitment from Aaliyah anyway. It's good stuff. All right, good to have you with us. 405-651-3439, Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. 405-651-3439. We're already getting the Donovan Mitchell questions on the text line, Parker Thune. Where is he at on the depth chart? What's the deal? You know, people are very intrigued, and I think are always going to be with Donovan Mitchell.
Devon Mitchell.
Oh, did I say Donovan? Jeez. I'm losing my – can I just
man
go
got
home?
NBA on
Can
the
I
brain.
just go home right now? I'm walking straight out of here. Donovan Mitchell. What's up with Spider Mitchell? Know what's going on with Devon Mitchell?
Man, they're
growth and maturity still.
Well, for one thing, he's 275 pounds, right? So can you play tight end in the SEC at 275 pounds?
They wanted to beef him up, but they didn't want to beef him that up. Right?
I don't even know that they wanted to beef him up, Steely. Like, he got to town, he was 240. At 6'3", 6'4", 240 is about all you need to be to play tight end effectively. Last season, he was about, 254, something like that, was his preseason listing. Now here we are this spring, and he's 275. And, okay, it doesn't look like a fat 275 if you see him working out there, but 275 is 275 nonetheless. There's some weight that needs to come off. There's some progression that needs to happen that just hasn't happened yet for Devon Mitchell. Right now, the fact that Will Huggins and Jaren Kanak are splitting time as the first-team tight end on this roster. I mean, look, that should serve as a major challenge to guys like Caden Helms and Cade McIntyre, certainly. Guys that have been around playing that position at Oklahoma a little bit longer than Will Huggins and Jaren Kanak. Should be something that gets their gears churning a little bit more than they already are. You know, both of those guys have had to deal with injuries, and so I understand that that's been a limiting factor for both Helms and McIntyre. But it's really got to be a wake-up call at some point to Devon Mitchell, because you were the most ballyhooed tight end recruit that this program had landed since Jermaine Gresham.
Yeah, that's the name I was going with.
Jermaine Gresham, like, So we were talking about Devon Mitchell.
Mark Andrews was fair, but he wasn't Jermaine.
Well, he was
Gresham.
a wide receiver coming out of high
he
school.
He was out of Arizona, yeah.
Yeah, so
right.
we're just talking pure tight end. Devon Mitchell was the most hyped recruit that Oklahoma had landed since Jermaine Gresham. And again, looking around at this tight end room, where you don't really have one guy that seems to be elevating leaps and bounds above the rest, and you don't have like an all-conference guy coming back as an incumbent, where the job is there for you to seize if you're willing to rise to the challenge, and that's not happening right now for Devon Mitchell. Yeah, there's very adequate reason for concern there.
Well, Dave from Norman has an interesting question. Was it a mistake for Mitchell to reclassify? If you're looking back on the way the whole thing went down, he, again, last year should have been his senior year in high school. I don't know. The story's still being written, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, he's still got 4 years of eligibility in front of him. So probably too early to make that call. I would say if you're just tracking trends so far and giving your knee-jerk reaction, as it were, I think it's fair to say that the reclassification decision might have done more harm than good for Devon Mitchell.
So far, it looks that way, yes. By the way, on the YouTube chats, the framing of me makes me look like I'm 4'7". I am not 4'7". I am like
5'3",
6 feet tall.
He's 5'3".
Parker looks like he could post me up in the post and just dunk over me. I look like Muggsy Bogues. And I'm sitting up fairly straight, and I still look like the hunchback of Notre Dame. I blame this on one man and one man alone, Drake Dykin. He wants me to look small because he's small. Let's make Steely look as small as humanly possible.
What, are you saying Drake has little man syndrome?
Yes, clearly. Because I look over there, and there's Parker, looks like he's Cooper Flagg, at like 6'9", and I look like I'm 4'7". And I also look like the hunchback, even though I've got pretty good posture over here. And I'm like, this is how I look. Man, you see Steely? Something wrong with him medically? He looks like what's wrong with him? Jeez. How tall is he?
Did you stretch this morning, Steely?
Is he
Did you do some yoga?
Does he even hit 5 feet? I did not. I walked up the stairway a couple times, upstairs.
You got to keep those muscles limber.
Maybe. That's how I look right there, where I'm hunched over all the time. I look like I'm, again, like 5'3" or something. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know, and I want you to know right now, I am not 5'3". This is a conspiracy again. Everything's a conspiracy these days. All right, what else do we have on the text line?
Powder Puff says Mitchell should not have reclassified. You have to look at it like this. If he would have stayed in school this year, if he would have stayed in school, this year would have been his freshman year. So I expect that he will start developing and getting better. He's just behind the curve because of that reclassification that doesn't always work for people.
Why did he reclassify? Do we know the exact reason? Did OU ask him to reclassify? Did he say, I want to come? He
reclassified for two primary reasons.
Okay.
Well, 3. A, he was obviously physically ready for it.
Certainly looked the part. Still looks the part.
Looked
except
like
for the
a
extra
Greek
weight.
god in high school.
Yeah.
B, he wanted to come in alongside his he wanted to come in alongside his buddy Michael Hawkins. They had played together at Allen.
Right. Everybody
Devon
forgets
was a year behind Michael.
Because he went out to California. A lot of people forget that he was,
correct,
playing in the state of Texas.
And then C, he was a year older than his grade at the time. So Devon Mitchell, if we're talking age, is exactly where he should be. He should be a redshirt freshman / sophomore in college. But at the time, he was a year older than his grade. So, again, physically, and you would imagine mentally, he would have been ready to enroll in college and skip that senior year, which he did. Now, he also early enrolled, so he skipped a full 3 semesters of high school to get here last January. Again, it's early. I don't want to come to any sweeping, broad conclusions yet about what that decision means for him and his college career and the impact that it will have therein, but early indications are it might have done more harm than good.
Yeah, if you had to come with a verdict right now, then you would say, yeah, it wasn't the best decision. But again, the story's still being written. We'll see. He still looks like he's got a chance to be a really good player. And I did like what he said during the offseason where, hey, this is on me, man. I've got to do better. You know, when he got here initially, I don't think he was ready for the rigors of going through major college football at that age. Even though he's got the body of a man, you know, there was a lot of kid in there too.
There was a lot of kid.
Upstairs.
Yep.
But I liked the way he talked about that, hey, this is on me. I've got to be better. And from all accounts, he's trying to put forth, you know, more effort. And I'm not saying he was, you know, dogging it all the time. But I think he's starting to learn what it takes to play major college football at the SEC.
Certainly. And
level.
This is a question that's been asked several times now on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line in different forms by different listeners. But, for instance, KW918 asks, if Devon Mitchell can't beat out a guy from Pitt State, will OU and Jim Nagy just cut bait with him in the spring portal? I'm assuming his NIL deal was huge to get no production there, or is it a continuing lack of development problem with the position overall? And, man, that is going to put a guy like Devon Mitchell squarely in the crosshairs, even more so than before, because now that Jim Nagy's in town, there's going to be more focus publicly on those guys that ostensibly, whether it's true or not true, ostensibly would have come to Norman with higher dollar values that aren't producing.
Yeah.
And Devon Mitchell,
good
point.
It really good
point. Fits that bill right now. And so, like, again, I'm not saying one thing or another is going to happen, but it's certainly fair to sit there and wonder, is he going to be a casualty of the new Nagy system? If you're not producing and you're getting paid a ton of money, aren't you kind of the ideal guy that Jim Nagy looks at in evaluating the roster and decides, okay, we can go ahead and rehome him elsewhere?
A lot of guys are going to be facing that situation now with the rosters getting smaller, with a guy like Jim Nagy evaluating not only, you know, recruits, but looking at their roster, being out there, watching scrimmages and doing other stuff. And we're not saying it's going to happen with Devon Mitchell, but somebody like that, you know, you've got to produce. You've got to produce to stay on the roster. That's the bottom line. It is a pro model now, so you better produce. Okay. Now, again, I also think they're smart enough to realize with some of these guys, if they're not quite ready, they're smart enough to think, you know what, though, this kid in another year, he could be very special, right? There are going to be some exceptions made there, Parker, for a diamond in the rough who they think, this kid, who knows? He might be Keith Jackson down the road. Right now, you'd say probably not, but there are going to be some guys on the roster that will get a little more leeway than others. Maybe Devon Mitchell would be one of those guys. Okay, what else we have? 405-651-3439. I cannot see because of this ridiculous mic arm, the YouTube chat.
Brian from Maryland says, sheesh, Steely going scorched earth, little man syndrome.
I know.
When's he going to throw shade at Travis today?
The only thing I ever said was Travis is an overtweeter one time. Guess what? 90% of people are overtweeters. That was a day where I keep looking at my phone. And it was like new post from Travis Davidson, new post from Travis Davidson. It was like one of those days, and I said, man, Travis is overtweeting a lot.
What, do you have tweet notifications on for him?
I did, I guess. Usually I don't have many notifications on. I turn most of them off unless it's like there's some big announcement. Maybe I left them on because there was some recruiting news or something. I'll have yours on or Brandon's on or Travis or somebody like that. But it was just one day, ding, ding, ding. They were like every 5 minutes.
So Travis Davidson at one point was in your good graces enough that you had his Twitter notifications on. It's crazy. That's why they say never meet your heroes, folks.
I only turn the notifications on for big events. Other than that, that's it. So I must have not turned them off.
Another 4 or 5 listeners says, surprise Steely isn't blaming Travis.
You guys are not going to get me started in this. Did I have little man syndrome 10 minutes ago? Yes.
Syndrome?
Because I look at this every day, and I see a freaking little hunchback midget, me, on the left side of the screen, and Parker Thune looking like he's 6'8". Like I said, he's going to come inside, post me up, and dunk right over me.
It's exactly what I'll do, too.
I blame this on Drake.
I'll do it.
Hey, make sure and keep Steely looking as small as possible. And hunched over, too. That way we can get him out of here in a year or two. Or 6 months. Who knows? Okay, Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. Les, what's up? See you on the YouTube chat. Kobe Neal says, Will Huggins is an underrated prospect. He is more talented than most Sooner fans give him credit for. I wonder if Kobe has seen Will Huggins in action.
Maybe, but
they're the Gorillas, right?
They are the Gorillas.
Pittsburgh State. Maybe he's a Pitt State fan.
The reason why whatever Oklahoma gets out of Will Huggins will be pleasantly surprising to me. The reason why I am keeping expectations at darn near zero for Will Huggins is because he's already played Power 4 football for four full seasons. He spent 4 full seasons at the University of Kansas. 1 catch, Steely. 1 catch over those first 4 seasons. It was a touchdown catch, and it actually came against Oklahoma back in 2020. I guarantee you don't remember it, but it was the final play of the game. Oklahoma won 62-9. Of course, at that time, that was the David Beatty Jayhawks, weren't they?
I think David Beatty was he there at that time?
2020?
We'd have to go ahead and Google it up.
No. That's Les Miles. That's Les Miles.
Les Miles.
Yep, that was the ill-fated Les Miles era. So Will Huggins' only career P4 catch came on the very last play of that game. It was a 20-yard touchdown in a game that Oklahoma won 62-9.
There you go. By the way, Patrick said, I thought we can't say midget anymore. All right, vertically challenged. How's that? Did I say that? I guess I did. I look vertically challenged on this YouTube shot because of the camera angle.
There's nothing politically incorrect about the word elf, is there? Steely is an elf.
Who knows? Who knows these days? All right, let's take a break. 405-651-3439. Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. Softball. Tennessee, 2 of 3 over the weekend. We'll hear what Patty Gasso had to say when we get back right here on the Ref.
The word is spreading, and the Ref Army is growing. Keep telling your friends and family that there's only one station for true Sooner fans, and that's the Ref Radio Sports Network, and worldwide on the KREF app.
Life runs on connection, powering your home, your work, and your world. At OEC and OEC Fiber, we keep the lights on with reliable electric service, and we keep you connected with fast, affordable internet. As a cooperative, we're more than a provider. We're your neighbors, committed to serving you with unmatched, dedicated service. Because at OEC, you're not just a customer, you're a valued member. Learn more at okcoop.org or oecfiber.com.
Speaking of technology, did you know that RK Black is an authorized dealer for Kyocera copiers? And the Kyocera copiers aren't just copiers. They're smart devices that can scan, print, fax, and email your documents with ease and security. Even better, they're backed by RK Black's award-winning service team that is built on nearly 70 years of taking great care of our clients. Whether you need a desktop printer or a multifunction copier, RK Black has the right product for you. Let's get the conversation started. Give us a call at 943-9800 or visit us at rkblack.com.
Built for success? How about Built by Law? Law Custom Homes and Construction is here to build your next home. With over 30 years of experience, Barry and Angela Law pride themselves on building the best quality homes in Norman. Locally owned and operated, Law Custom Homes and Construction can also help you with carpet, tile, siding, windows, granite, and roofing. Don't wait. Call Barry Law at 405-919-7118 and let Law Custom Homes build your next quality home. That's 405-919-7118.
One smile is great, but one smile in a community of smiles is so much better. Smile Train celebrates the cleft lip and palate community by empowering medical professionals in over 70 countries to perform essential cleft care in their local communities. Learn how Smile Train is helping the cleft lip and palate community at smiletrain.org/learn. Smile Train. changing the world one smile at a time.
Hornsdown Apple Pie Liquor is not your grandma's apple pie unless your grandma was a moonshiner with a PhD in flavor. This all-natural, 6-time distilled spirit is sure to light up any party, tailgate, or special occasion. Whether toasting a touchdown or yelling at the Yums because Spike was safe, Hornsdown Apple Pie is the perfect drink for celebrating the highs and lows of life in Oklahoma. Hornsdown celebrates all of you who cheer from the berm, tailgate, on Lindsay Street, and wreak havoc on social media. You can find our red bottle at your local liquor store or search for your closest location at drinkhornsdown.com.
We all play a role in keeping our communities safe. Oklahoma is no stranger to attacks. It's now easier than ever. If you see something, say something. The free and anonymous Protect OK app allows instant reporting of suspicious activity, both in schools and the community. You can help keep your family and friends safe. Protect OK.
Protect OK.
Protect OK.
Protect OK.
Download the Protect OK app today in the Apple app or Google Play stores. Funded by the Oklahoma Office of Homeland Security.
We tend not to think about right now, but right now in front of us is victory over cancer. Right now, cancer research funded by the V Foundation is leading to better treatments and saving lives. When you give to the V Foundation, 100% of your donation goes directly to game-changing cancer research. Victory over cancer is there for the taking by you. Donate at v.org, because today's cancer research is tomorrow's victory.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
As we wonder why our kids are struggling, someone is getting bullied. As we discuss how to improve their mental health, someone is being harassed on social media. As we wonder why they're skipping school, someone is crying themselves to sleep. Knowing the signs is the best way to prevent bullying.
Please just leave me alone.
Learn the signs at sandyhookpromise.org.
Welcome back, everybody. We're here on a Monday. Mike Steely, Parker Thune in the Buffalo Wild Wings studios on Fridays. We're out at Riverwind Casino. You need to get out there today, play with your wild card. The brand new promotions are out for April. It is the Spring Spins and Wins promotion. Those are the drawings, again, on Friday night. Win your share of $80K in cash and bonus play. Every Friday night out at Riverwind. Play with your wild card on Mondays and Tuesdays, today and tomorrow. Try and get the extra entries in the drawings for the Spring Spins and Wins. Promotional drawings coming up on Friday night. Riverwind now featuring nearly 3,000 electronic games. The new app is amazing. Get that for free on the App Store. It's fantastic. You'll find out about the latest promotions, get some discount coupons. They'll fill you in on everything. It's a great app to have. Get the Riverwind Casino app, which has been out for a little over a week now. And, again, can't wait to get out there on Friday. Big-time show over the weekend with Chicago at the Showplace Theater. Next up in April, America coming up Saturday night, April 26th. And then Boys to Men on a Monday night, April 28th. Later in May, Patti LaBelle, the Randy Rogers Band, and Scotty McCreery. In June, two great comedy shows on back-to-back night. Jay Leno with Arsenio Hall, that is Friday night, June 6th. And the comedy of Nick Swardson the next night, Saturday, June 7th. Riverwind Casino, always good times, great rewards at the metro area's best casino experience, the one and only Riverwind Casino. All right, Sooner softball over the weekend. They dropped 2 of 3 to Tennessee. That game was right there Friday night, and Tennessee made a great play, throw to the plates, bottom of the 7th, and the Sooners walk out of there with a victory. But Tennessee comes back, wins the game in extra innings, And then Saturday, the Sooners come out, win 4-1. But yesterday, Oklahoma put 3 on the scoreboard in the 4th inning, but Tennessee answered with 5 in their half of the 4th inning. And all of a sudden, 2 of 3 for Tennessee over the weekend. And, yes, Carlin Pickens is a really good pitcher. Let's hear from Patty Gasso on the Sooners losing their first at-home conference series since 2006.
Another great game, tough game on our side. I like the way we started, where we scored first and they answered very quickly. And you give that to a team that's been around and they kind of know how to do that. I think this is a great learning opportunity for us. It's humbling, but we know we're not good enough. We're winning, but we're still not good enough. That's a World Series team we just played, and they've got an elite pitcher. And I thought we're making contact, it's just not going anywhere. And I felt like we were kind of trying to make contact versus swinging like this one has been swinging and just really trying to square the ball up. And Pickering had a phenomenal weekend off of her, and it's a good example of tenacity and focus, but planning. And our team learned that we have to walk up with a plan. We understand this felt really uncomfortable. It did not feel good watching this happen on our own field. But this is what this young team has to learn as we go forward. It's going to happen.
There you go. Patty saying we're not good enough right now. And again, you look at what they are. They're 31-3. They were number 3 in the Softball America rankings. Texas 1, Florida 2, Oklahoma 3. Rest of the top 10, by the way, A&M's 4th, LSU's 5th, South Carolina 7th, Tennessee is 9th. So the SEC has 7 of the top 10 teams in the country. But, you know, when you can get an ace, and Sam Landry's been really good for Oklahoma. Obviously, she had the tough half inning when they gave up 5 runs, and free passes will always come back to haunt you. But Pickens, as Patty said, she's one of the best in the country. And Sam Landry's really good, but she's not Pickens, not right now. And maybe she never will be. She's, again, the Sooners' ace. But, Parker, again, when the bar is set as high as you can possibly set the bar, which it has been for the last 4 years with this Oklahoma team, and even the championships before then, when you have this many newcomers, these are growing pains. I think for this softball team, and I know what the expectations are, can they win a national championship? Yeah, they could put this together, you know, and really get on a roll and win a national championship. But I think getting back to the College World Series would be a good season for Oklahoma. And I know that sounds crazy, but to me, that's a victory for this team. And if they get there, which I still think I would pick them to get there at this point, but that would be a really good season for Oklahoma.
So you don't think they're winning the national championship?
I would say they probably will not be winning the national championship.
Why is that?
Because I just think there are too many newcomers. And, you know, the good news is Kirsten Deal pitched really well over the weekend. That was good to see. Landry, again, she hasn't been at her best, but it was one inning, but it was a big inning. And, again, when you issue free passes, you know, you're going to have some problems. Do I think she can be an ace? I think she's already an ace, so to speak, but can she go out and totally dominate, you know, when you get to a super regional and Oklahoma City? We'll see. Maybe she can.
First things first, I'm curious, was that audio clip from Patty recorded in an empty moving
Dude,
school bus?
I worked with that. Plank and I are so – we have been saying for years, unless you get like a post game with Patty from the network or whatever, that setup is not good enough. Oklahoma softball is the best program in America. Their stadium is the best in America. Their audio setup for postgame is pretty much amateur. I played with that, graphic equalized it, put more bass into it, cut out noise. That's the best we can get. I said, Plank, why is this so difficult? Can we not plug into a malt box? What's the deal? I know. They got to get it working better. Also, when you put one mic in the middle of a table with 3 people and they're 5 feet away from the mic, that's what you're going to get.
Great audio.
We need to get OU softball. You are the best program in the country. Meet the audio standards. I know 75% or more of the audience couldn't give a rip, but you've got to do everything professionally.
Slim Brady on the text line pointing out that you did pick against OU softball last year, too.
I did, yeah.
They did win a national title. To me, here's where I stand on it. I'm going to assume Patty and the gals are going to win the national title until proven otherwise. Because we've been down this road so many times with this team. Now, they lost a series last year in the regular season to Texas.
Not this team, though.
Yeah,
the program. You're talking about the program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they lost a series last year in the regular season to Texas, and
They lost the game to Louisiana, right?
Everybody came out of the woodwork and said, okay, here we go. The fall of Oklahoma softball has begun. They are no longer the juggernaut that they once were. And then they go win another national title. To me...
So you're sticking with Oklahoma until you see it happen?
I'm sticking with Oklahoma until I see somebody knock them off.
I can understand that. But, again, do I think the program is going? No. It's easily the best program in America. I think it's going to continue to be that way. But, I mean, as Patty said in one of the sound bites, the one that was even worse than that sound-wise, was, come on, people, let's be realistic. We know what we lost, right? The greatest class ever. You had so many of those players who moved on, who only knew the finish of their season was holding up a national championship trophy, and that's it. So when you have that kind of pedigree coming back year after year, how many times did Oklahoma look down and out in so many of those games? The Clemson game, right? Not in the College World Series, Kinsey Hansen. Last year in Oklahoma City, right, against Florida, Jada Coleman. They expected to win. This team, there's some players on that squad still here that have that mentality. There's some others that are trying to develop and get that mentality.
Gator on the text line says, if not the Sooners, then who is Keebler Steely picking for the softball natty?
I do look like I should live in the freaking Elves tree, right? It's a conspiracy. See, this camera is up here pointing at a downward angle.
Okay, yeah, mine is the same way.
Yeah, but you're like...
Tall?
They have framed you correctly. This is a whole conspiracy wrapped in an enigma, and I believe that Drake Dykin is behind it, personally. Let's make Steely look smaller than me. He's got a big heart, but he's kind of a small man. Stature-wise. So anyway. All right, what else do we have? 405-651-3439. What's the scoop on the quarterback recruitment? Yeah, let's talk Bo Bentley. Down to 3. You think it's really 2?
I think it's really 2. OU or LSU. Don't really think Georgia is as seriously in the picture for Bo Bentley. So, Sooner or Tiger? We've had some good, solid LSU-OU recruiting battles in recent years. Caden Durham comes to mind. Of course, that one went LSU's way. But that's really what I think it has come down to for Bo Bentley. Really interesting detail on that recruitment, and no doubt we'll talk more about it on Locked In come the 2 o'clock hour. But he is the only prospect right now that has an official visit set for the weekend of June 13th through the 15th. Everybody else that has booked an official visit with Oklahoma has booked it for the weekend of June 6th or the weekend of June 20th. As it stands, Bo Bentley is the only prospect that is going to be taking his official visit the weekend of June 13th. So what does that tell you, Steele?
That tells you all attention's on Bo Bentley. Right?
That is correct.
It's going to be very interesting to see how that quarterback situation plays out. No doubt. Okay. 405, get Steely some phone books. That might be a good idea. They put me on this YouTube thing, man, and it changed my life. Darken the room. Trying to look at my notes. Am I an old man? Yes, I am. But it's made life more difficult. They make me the hunchback of Norman in the process.
S. Rob Booman says, maybe we should start calling Steely Quasimodo.
Do I need to ring a bell? That part of the hunchback's duties? That is his only duty, pretty much.
There was one listener that accused you of having a jacket that is too big, which is contributing to your smallish appearance.
This is not a jacket. This is a quarter zip, by God, from the Augusta National Golf Club. You may not be able to see the logo, but yes, right here. Thank you. You're welcome.
Some people shop at American Eagle. Some people shop at the Gap. Some people shop at H&M. Steely shops at the Augusta National Golf Club Pro Shop.
Probably about 65% of my wardrobe has a Masters logo on it. So, All right, we got to get out of here for hour number one. I want to thank Last Year Home Comfort Systems, 405-579-3113. And we have Jesse Crittendon on the way next. We'll talk a lot more Sooner football. We'll get into some college hoops as well. Got a lot coming up. YouTube chat. Get on YouTube. We're live noon to 3 every day here on the Ref, and keep killing it on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line at 405-651-3439. Monday, here on the home of Sooner fans, and we are coming right back.
Sound off any time of day on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line at 405-651-3439. Right here on the home of Sooner fans, the Ref Sports Radio Network.
Looking for the ultimate way to bring fun to your home this season? Galaxy Home Recreation has you covered. From top-of-the-line pool tables, hot tubs with the best hydrotherapy in the business, to exciting home theater seating. Visit our showroom today and let our experts create the perfect setup for family fun or entertaining friends. Located outside of the Sooner Mall in Norman on the north side of the building. Mention this radio ad and receive your exclusive offer. Galaxy Home Recreation. Family-owned and operated in Oklahoma since 1975.
Are you looking to elevate your golf game in 2025? Westwood Golf Course in Norman can help. Now's the time to get your annual memberships, and they're open 7 days a week. The 50th annual Westwood Invitational is July 4th, 5th, and 6th, so be sure to register early this year. Play after 2 p.m. for just $28 or after 5 p.m. for just $23. You can always book your tee time at westwoodparkgolf.com, and don't forget to visit the Turn Grill inside Westwood, one of the local gyms in Norman. Get ready for an unforgettable summer at the Young Family Athletic Center. Our summer day camps and sports leagues are the perfect way for young athletes to stay active, improve their skills, and have a blast. Whether your child is into basketball, volleyball, or pickleball, we've got open gym, leagues, and camps designed for all skill levels. Registration is now open for most summer activities, but space is limited. Don't miss out. Go to YFAC.com and make this summer one to remember.
We tend not to think about right now, but right now in front of us is victory over cancer. Right now, cancer research funded by the V Foundation is leading to better treatments and saving lives. When you give to the V Foundation, 100% of your donation goes directly to game-changing cancer research. Victory over cancer is there for the taking by you. Donate at v.org, because today's cancer research is tomorrow's victory.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
For 3 generations, the John M. Ireland and Son Funeral Home and Chapel in Morris continued to serve the community by giving back to local schools, charitable organizations, and first responders.
We provide pre-planning for funerals and cremation services at the most reasonable prices.
We are proud to be a family-owned and operated funeral home.
Award-winning funeral home year after year, our family believes in serving the people of our community.
I'm John Ireland.
And I'm Solon Daniels.
You've got our word on it.
Whether you're celebrating a special occasion, desire a great postgame, or after-work dining experience, the Ranch Steakhouse is the winning choice. At Ranch Steakhouse, we're grilling up the best USDA prime steaks in Oklahoma. Juicy, flavorful, and cooked to perfection. Pair that with an unbeatable atmosphere, a killer drink selection, and a wine list of over 400 personally curated bottles. Whether you're toasting the game or winding down after a big day, Ranch Steakhouse is where champions eat.
While serving in Iraq, our vehicle was hit. They didn't think I was going to make it. I'm Latoya Lucas, and I'm a veteran. I had to learn to live with the scars, both visible and invisible.
DAV helps veterans like Latoya get the benefits they've earned. They help more than 1 million veterans every year.
My victory is overcoming my wounds so I can help other veterans.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the home of Sooner fans, KREF, Norman, Oklahoma, and streaming live on the KREF app.
The Ref Sports Radio Network.
Should see Drake Dykin walking around in here, man. Since he signed a 5-star to his organization.
Did he hear your comments about him having little man syndrome?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
He came in here during the break, and Blake said, Steely's complaining because he says he looks short. And Drake just said, I don't care. He's walking around like he owns this place now.
He kind of does.
He is.
And here's the thing.
A man with confidence.
And here's the thing. You don't want to challenge a man that's scrapped with Sonny Galloway.
That's true.
He's battle-tested.
Well, that's an effing line. Here comes Sonny Galloway. Look out. The man is walking. Do you see how he walks around now?
I do, yes.
He does. It's a different Drake Dykin. I think he could probably beat me in arm wrestling right now if he came in here live. No. I'm a weak old man. He might be, I would say Vegas would have it as a pick-em right now. 405-651-3439 on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. By the way, Scissortail Roofing and Construction, we've had hail, we've had winds. We're going to have more of this. You know what spring's all about in Oklahoma. You sit there and worry, oh, no, is the roof going to make it this time? That's just something we do this time of the year all the time. And I want to tell you about Scissortail Roofing and Construction at scissortailroofing.com. If you have an issue with your roof or your fence or whatever, they will get the job done for you. Free estimates, 405-928-8089. Full-service storm restoration company, Oklahoma City Metro and beyond. Insurance storm damage experts as well, licensed for residential and commercial roofing. Norman Reader's Choice winner for Best Roofer and Best Construction Company. Scissortail Roofing and Construction. Keep them in mind, 405-928-8089. That's 405-928-8089, scissortailroofing.com. Okay, 405-651-3439 on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. Real quick, before we hit the text up, let's hear more from Brent Venables and the conversation with Josh Pate, which officially came out this morning. And this is Brent talking about, what it's been like his first 3 years. And Brent said he's hoping that more roster continuity will help the program in year 4.
We've seen this from the first year. The first year we didn't process anybody out. We didn't say anybody, you have to leave. Let's just figure this out. And what we have, and then what we know with the hard numbers, what we have coming back. We had several guys come out early for the NFL draft. I think 4 or 5 guys on defense came out early. The Nick Benitos, Perrion Winfrey, Brian Asamoah type of guys. And then we had several guys in offense. I think maybe 3 offensive linemen left early. A receiver or 2, Kennedy Brooks, he came out early. And then Caleb Williams left to SC, and Spencer Rattler went to South Carolina. We didn't have a scholarship quarterback left. We just had to kind of figure it out. And then after the first year, then we think we end up having 53 newcomers. And then we went like to 42 newcomers, give or take. And then this year we had just barely over 30. And that's more what you want, 25 to 30 new guys. That's more of the norm, give or take. It is open-ended free agency twice a year. And I don't want to lose any guys. But the environment has created opportunity for the players to try to create more value for themselves somewhere else. And so there's give and take, but you want something that is consistent and you have great continuity. I think that's what lends to success, in any business, organization, locker room.
There you go. So obviously you look at who the Sooners lost on defense with Danny Stutzman, with Ethan Downs, with Billy Bowman. They lost some really valuable pieces on that defensive chessboard. But the overall roster, is this easily Brent's best overall roster? What do you think, Parker?
I don't know that I would say it's easily his best roster. I do think it's his best. I don't know if it's leaps and bounds a better roster than, say, the roster they had in 2023. That was a pretty dang good roster.
Yeah.
This roster in 2025, it's a pretty dang good roster. The only
when
question
you consider
is
competitive depth, what they always talk about, right? Also.
Exactly, and there's a lot to like about this roster in its current form, but again, Steely, the reality of living life in the SEC is that pretty much everybody has a good roster. And so your roster in 2025 may not take you as far as your roster in 2023 did, because Oklahoma had the best roster in the Big 12 in 2023, maybe except for Texas. In 2025, where does that roster rank amongst SEC programs? I think there are probably 10 other programs that could very feasibly claim they have an equivalent, if not superior, roster to Oklahoma's. And similarly, Oklahoma could very well claim they have an equivalent or superior roster to any one of those programs. Like, there are some schools in the SEC that objectively just don't have as much talent as the rest. Mississippi State, Kentucky, probably Vanderbilt. Outside of that, man, everybody's got ball players across the board.
Again, it is always going to be who's making the plays. I mean, it always is, but particularly in some of these games, I think Oklahoma, if they could have been healthier on the offensive side of the football, they still they should have won at Missouri. There's no doubt in my mind. I know the defense gave up the drive when they got the lead, but you're right there. Jackson Arnold, boom, drops the ball, ball game. But we'll see. We'll see. And, of course, a lot of that just depends on you've got guys that have been in the system for a long time now that we think are going to be good players, and we'll see if they continue to make that ascension each and every year, becoming a better player. 405-651-3439, Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line.
Recruiting Boomer says, Steely, how you feeling about broomstick putter or arm lock? I'm switching from my 35-inch.
I'm not a big fan, but as long as it's not illegal. I always thought it looked weird. You can go all the way back the early days of golf when Sam Snead was out there, and he used to putt side saddle, like just behind the ball and kind of knock it forward for a while. But, I don't know. I'm not playing any golf right now. I've got kind of a bum shoulder and a very different life than I had 3 or 4 years ago. But I don't know. I'm just waiting for Augusta next week, baby. Let's go.
A bum shoulder, you need some icy hot?
I don't know. I think I need somebody to look at it. I think it's an impingement.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's not fun. I
had
one of those once.
I tried to swing a 7-iron out in the backyard recently, and I got up to like this far, and then the pain came. So, old problems.
Roger in L.A. says, OU did jack crap with that roster in 23. Venables found a way to lose 3 games with that great roster. Did not even get to the Big 12 title game. Okay,
And now Parker Thune's rebuttal.
I don't even have a rebuttal. I don't know what I don't know how to reason with people like this who think that winning 10 games of college football in the Power 4 is, quote-unquote, doing jack crap.
Who did they beat besides Texas?
Everybody on their schedule save for Kansas and Oklahoma State. Like, they beat SMU in non-con play. That turned out to be a really good win at the end of the year.
Not bad.
Yeah. Who else did they play in non-con that year? It was Houston, right? They played
Was
Houston?
that the Cincinnati year?
No.
Was that?
Well, yeah, they had the road trip to Cincinnati in Big 12 play. They beat BYU on the road. They had some solid wins. They won 10 games. And guess what? They would have played for a Big 12 title if BYU hadn't blown an 18-point lead in their season finale at home, or I'm sorry, on the road in Stillwater to Oklahoma State.
That's right.
That is the only thing that kept Oklahoma out of the Big 12 title game. So look, if winning 10 games is quote-unquote doing jack crap, I guarantee you jack crap is something you'd be more than satisfied with in the year 2025.
That fourth down route was not very good in Stillwater either.
The play call to Drake Stoops there on the boundary. Yeah. What was
play
that?
call? Yeah. He got bumped off because Drake Stoops was freaking awesome that year too. So anyway. All right, 405-651-3439, Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line, KW the 918.
A 405 listener.
Go ahead.
Says, wait, what did KW say?
Oh, sorry, my bad. I'm worried whether this will be the best medical staff they've had to date. They have more than enough talent to compete. Would be nice to see injured players get healthy after being hurt. Brent did say, I think he mentioned this in his spring presser as well, but he did say in the conversation.
He's going to be performing surgeries personally?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Dr. BV. But that they looked at every aspect of why it was happening, and they have tinkered with a few things here and there. So what exactly they are, maybe I don't think we've had any real specifics, but they're trying – I don't know if Brent's going to practice physical football. But maybe they tone it back just a little bit. Bob Stoops said he did that, at one point during his career as well. So we'll see.
A 405 listener says, in my opinion, the defensive talent is leaps and bounds ahead of 2023 when you consider the rotational guys. That I agree with.
Yes.
I mean, think about some of the guys that Oklahoma was rolling out on the defensive side of the ball in 2023. Key Lawrence, Rondell Bothroyd. Now, who was playing? Josiah Wagner and Makari Vickers were seeing action at corner as true freshmen. They were decent players, but
where did Seatbelt wind up?
Colorado.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he's at Colorado now. I will say, while I do think Oklahoma is better, maybe substantially better, just in terms of defensive personnel in 2025 than they were in 2023, the one room that I would take the 2023 version of over the 2025 version of, at least from what we know and have seen right now, that 2023 group of receivers, I'm taking that room over Oklahoma's room in 2025, at least for now. Because
the potential's there for this room, but we got to see it. Got to see it.
You had Nick Anderson and his career year. Andrell Anthony was a menace for the first half of the season until he got hurt. Jaden Gibson was making plays. To me, that 2023 receiver room is the best receiver room Oklahoma has had since.
Jalil Farouk?
Yeah, you had Jalil Farouk as well. All over the field for Oklahoma. And then obviously Drake Stoops, as productive as he was, he led the team in basically all the major receiving categories, either led or co-led. So that receiver room in 2023 was a legit difference maker. Is Oklahoma's receiver room in 2025 going to be a legit difference maker for the program? I don't know. I don't know how anyone could know based on how many of these guys that are going to see substantial action for OU in 2025 at receiver were either hurt last year or playing elsewhere last year.
Jalil Farouk's finest moment playing the role of Jon Snow in the Cotton Bowl when the Longhorns came running out onto the Cotton Bowl gridiron. And the worst moment had to be the Alamo Bowl fumble, right? Was he stripped or did he just drop the ball? I'm trying to remember.
He fumbled twice that game.
But one of them was the return, right? That went the
One
other
of them
way.
was returned, yes, quite a ways.
That play may have affected Sooner football a lot more than we knew at the moment. Because I still believe that Jackson Arnold, while his confidence wasn't completely shattered at that time, I think it was somewhat shaky. And then with what happened with the offensive line and the receivers, completely shell-shocked early in the season. So
A 405 listener says, Teddy thinks Jaden Hardy is making moves. I will agree with Teddy on this one. In fact, we talked about that last week over at OUinsider.com. Jaden Hardy doing some real nice things on the practice.
What are we hearing about Blaylock?
Torrey Blaylock? Yep. Again, I think he's going to redshirt, which is fine.
But you've heard some good things so far. But again, yeah, it's not like unless he's going to be Adrian Peterson and come out start as a freshman.
Yeah, obviously speed is his thing. He's an explosive back. I think he's going to redshirt. That's my expectation because of how deep they are right now.
Was that a battle was LSU in that battle?
For Torrey Blaylock? Yeah. For him,
I know it was Caden Durham, obviously. The Sooners are right there with LSU.
I'm pretty sure for Torrey it was OU, Ohio State, and A&M. I don't recall. It was OU for a long, long time for Torrey, even before he committed.
Krabby Sooner says all 3 losses were games we should have won. Yeah, absolutely. They were all right there. All of those games were right there for OU in 23.
The Waffler asks, any word on how Jackson Arnold's spring is going, Parker? Don't know. Frankly, don't care.
Not JFA, Jackson Forgotten Arnold.
There you go. Not because I don't like Jackson Arnold, not because I don't want him to have success down there at Auburn. I certainly do, but I got enough on my plate covering the Sooners right now. Not paying a whole lot of attention to Auburn's spring camp.
By the way, James Harris says Brent goes full thud at practice. Didn't Makari Vickers have heart surgery?
He did have heart surgery, and that was, I'm not sure how well this was known, how commonly this was known, but he was unavailable for much of fall camp last year at Oklahoma and was obviously unavailable for several games throughout the season, and the heart issues that he was dealing with was the reason why. So he was going to have heart surgery eventually. Glad to know he got it. Great kid, great family. Hope it works for him in Colorado.
By the way, as we go to break, Sooner RX on the YouTube chats. Some people would rather be right than root for their own team. Good grief. Who is that? Is that me? Who is that? That's maybe he's mad because I didn't pick OU softball to win the Natty. Or maybe it's somebody else. Jody, our friend there in T-Town, says, who will ultimately make the decision about Venables' future? Will it be Nagy as the general manager like Andrew Luck at Stanford, which is the professional model, or will it be Joe C? Why don't we tackle that when we get back, and we'll talk about that with Jesse Crittendon as well. Coming up next, right here on the Home of Sooner Fans.
A true Sooner fan wouldn't be caught dead without the KREF app. Join the Army. Get the app. Tell your friends. This is The Ref, where diehard Sooner fans listen.
Every day, innocent families share the road with massive semi-trucks. The safety of everyone depends on trucking companies to hire careful drivers. But when trucking companies ignore red flags and hire dangerous drivers, the results can be deadly.
Reckless hiring practices put bad drivers on the road. Just last year, 5,700 large trucks were involved in a fatal crash. One bad hiring decision, one unsafe driver can change a life forever.
These tragedies are avoidable. Companies must be held accountable for reckless hiring practices that put all of us at risk. If you or a loved one has been affected, call McIntyre Law.
Oklahoma DRS helps job seekers with disabilities become taxpayers.
Their whole thing is to help people with disabilities go back to work.
They knew that I would be successful if I did not give up.
They have given me the power and confidence to face any challenge.
I'm just glad that, DRS was there. Empower yourself. Talk to DRS Vocational Rehabilitation
or services for the blind today.
OKDRS.gov. 800-487-4042.
For the professional, it's not enough to just possess knowledge. That's why at GMC, we seek to refine it, to wield its power, to redefine its boundaries, while pushing the limits. And we put this knowledge to the test in every GMC Sierra by engineering each one to outperform your expectations. So you know you're getting precision and durability when you need it most. And that's what makes the GMC Sierra the truck worth knowing. We are professional grade. See your Oklahoma GMC dealers.
The Ref is the home of Sooner fans and is once again your home for chaos. Every game-changing hit.
Long fly ball to left. Track. Whoa. Gone.
Every strikeout.
Got him. Swing it.
Every defensive gem.
He caught it. He caught it.
Every game, all year, the Ref has you covered.
Catch Sooner Baseball take on the Texas Tech Red Raiders in Frisco Tuesday night at 6:30 with pregame coverage starting at 6 on the Ref and the KREF app.
You're back to back to back to back. National champion Oklahoma softball team is coming to OKC. The Sooners host Game 1 of their series against the Mississippi State Bulldogs at Devon Park in OKC on Friday, April 18th. Come see the best college softball in the best conference on the biggest stage in prime time. Tickets are available at Soonersports.com/tickets, and we'll see you at Devon Park on April 18th at 6:30 p.m.
Looking for a better way to bank? Join OU Federal Credit Union and experience the difference. If you are tired of hidden fees and impersonal service at your big bank, well, you deserve better, and that's what you'll find at OU Federal Credit Union. They offer competitive rates on loans and savings accounts. Plus, they're a local member-owned institution. Join OU Federal Credit Union today and discover the benefits of being a part of a community that cares. Visit OUFCU.com or stop by the branches today. Member savings insured up to $250,000 by NCUA.
My name is Ariel. I moved to the U.S. at 19. I spoke no English and I struggled finding job opportunities. Everything I have, I owe to the Adult Literacy Center and getting my high school diploma at age 22.
It was an honor helping you achieve your greatness. Now you're helping others achieve theirs. It inspires me.
When you graduate, they graduate. Find free and supportive adult education centers near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
For decades, Moore Norman Tech has been training skilled and dedicated individuals, giving clear career paths to hundreds of graduates a year. These passionate individuals are the heartbeat of the Oklahoma workforce, serving thousands of companies that fuel this state's economy. Individuals like you. Here's to the next generation of entrepreneurs, craftsmen, and go-getters who will shape the future of this state. Oklahoma is powered by Career Tech.
Also want to thank our friends at Hightower Clinical. They bring great clinical trial opportunities to the state of Oklahoma and the metro area. No cost, no insurance needed to participate in these trials. Your meds are provided for free. Patients, you can also be compensated for your time as well. Located conveniently in various metro area locations. Coming soon to other areas of the state. HightowerClinical.com for more information on these clinical trials. You can also call or text 405-831-5905. That's 405-831-5905, hightowerclinical.com. Jesse Crittendon ready to go?
Jesse Crittendon is indeed ready to go.
Jesse, how we doing? Why don't we start with softball? I'm sure there are a few Sooner softball fans hitting the panic button, but just your overall take on the weekend series with the Vols winning 2 of 3 in Norman.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think there are some fans hitting the panic button, and because as much as this team is 31-3 and 9-3 in conference play, you don't see this team lose conference series too often, and you especially don't see them losing conference series at home too often. But I actually just wrote a piece over at OU Insider titled, "There's no need to panic yet, but there are some issues that this team is going to have to address." We saw them in bits and pieces throughout the year. Then we saw it get a little bit bigger in that Missouri series where they lost game 2, and then they were kind of on display over the weekend against Tennessee. I mean, you saw where, for one, how reliant this team is on Sam Landry. And, Landry had some really good moments and then obviously had a couple of tough moments, specifically in yesterday's game in that 4th inning where Tennessee goes on a 5-run rally with 2 outs on the board. So we saw when Sam Landry is not absolutely lights out for an entire game, that can pose some problems for this team. And we also saw that this offense really, really struggle. And as much as, Pickens for Tennessee is, Patty referred to her as the best pitcher in the SEC, and she really might be. As much as Tennessee has a really, really good pitching staff, we've seen this offense struggle a little bit. We've seen it at times in conference play. They even struggled a little bit against Missouri, a team that doesn't have one of the best pitching staffs in the country. And then it kind of came full circle this past weekend. Outside of Cassidy Pickering and Abby Dayton, this team went 6 for 58 at the plate. And it's going to be really, really hard to win series in an SEC that's really good from top to bottom if you aren't getting consistent hits up and down the lineup. And outside of a couple of players, OU just didn't get a ton of offense. Obviously, Ella Parker is really, really struggling in conference play. She's dealing with an injury and just doesn't look comfortable. So all of that is to say, look, there really isn't a need to hit the panic button. This is still a team that is in really, really good shape. But I think they won through some issues earlier in the year, and it's a testament that they were winning, considering there are some flaws in this team. But it's no surprise that we're getting into the meat of conference play, and some of those issues are coming to the surface. So while there's no real reason to be super pessimistic about this team, the reality is that they are young. There are a lot of newcomers, and I think it took some time, but we are starting to see the flaws in this roster and some of the questions that this team is going to have to answer if they're, want to still stay in the hunt for a title over the next few weeks.
Do you concur with Rocky Top Steely's assessment that Oklahoma's run of 4 consecutive national titles will end this year?
It's certainly more likely than not, right? I mean, if you're either betting on Oklahoma or the field, you're probably taking the field. The reality is, it's insane that this team won 4 straight championships to begin with, and it's also insane that as young and as new as this team is, they are as good as they still are. And even in that Tennessee series, they lose that series, but game 1 goes to extra innings. They could have won that game. And game 3, they lose it because of kind of an uncharacteristic rough outing from Sam Landry in the 4th when she already had 2 outs on the board. So it's like, they didn't get blown out this weekend. That's a series that if a couple things go their way, they win it. But when you look at the rest of the schedule, as good as Tennessee is, they're not the best team in the SEC. You've still got to go. You still got to play Texas. You still got to play Florida. You still got to go to Bama. And yeah, I think this Tennessee series showed that there are some things this team is going to have to answer. And given how young and new this team is, they have an uphill climb if they want to get back on top. You lose as many seniors as this program lost. It's no wonder that they've struggled. But look, the reality is they don't have an elite pitching staff top to bottom. And even offensively, they've got good players. But when Ella Parker is struggling like she is, when other players like Isabella Emmerling or Ilana Abayani aren't hitting very well, it's just the best way to put it is there are just more questions about this team than there ever have been. And when you look at the rest of the field, and I'm talking about elite teams, I think some of those other teams have fewer questions than this OU softball team is. So you never rule out Patty Gasso. Doesn't matter who's on the team. You never rule out this coaching staff. But I think this year, certainly more than the last few years, if you want to present an argument as to why this team won't win it all this year, that there's certainly a lot more things you can point to than the last few years.
Yeah, I had somebody text me over the weekend. Can't believe that Patty said we're not good enough. She was talking about right now at this juncture of the season and this team with so many newcomers, trying to come together. And again, they are 31-3, right? So they've been pretty good. Tennessee doesn't make a great play Friday night at the plate in the bottom of the 7th, right? The Sooners are talking about a win there. So they're going to be in the mix. I think they're going to be in the mix. To me, I said earlier, Jesse, and I know this upsets people because of OU's high standard, I just think even getting back to Oklahoma City in the Women's College World Series is a good season for this Oklahoma softball team. Do I think they'll get there? I do. But, again, I don't think Patty was saying, we're not good enough to, be whatever. She's talking about where they are right now. And, again, they're still 31-3. Okay, Paige Beckers and UConn, the Sooners were up 36-32 at halftime. They got outscored by UConn, 50-23, I think it was, in the second half. They're in the Sweet 16 out in Spokane. But overall, you got to be feeling so good about what Oklahoma has coming in with Aaliyah Chavez, obviously, and what they have coming back next season. I know that was disappointing, but Reagan Beers, Peyton Verhulst, Chavez, Sahara Williams, you got Raina Scott, you got the 2 recruits, the Lofton kid coming in from Bethany, Brooklyn Stewart from Colorado Springs. The future looks as bright as it has in a long time, it looks to me like, for Oklahoma basketball, for the ladies.
Yeah, everything you just said, it's not only that the future is bright, but when you look at this past season, and I think when you look at this roster top to bottom, I think this was a year that you can confidently say that Jenny Baranczyk squeezed kind of everything out of this roster that she could. And the main issue in that UConn game. It wasn't just Paige Beckers going for 40. OU didn't have an answer for her, but it really was the turnovers. And it wasn't just and those turnovers came from a fundamental issue with this roster, which is when the games get really tight and the elite competition comes to town, who are you giving the ball to run your offense through? And as good as Reagan Beers is in the post and as good as some of these other players are, we saw Peyton Verhulst go off in that second quarter. OU hasn't really had a clear number one perimeter option that you can run your offense through when you face some of these really, really tougher teams as you get deeper into the NCAA tournament. That's why you have so many turnovers, right? When you have an offense, and ball movement and all that stuff is really, really good. But, Paige Beckers went off for UConn. They have a number one option on the perimeter that they can go to. So if you're looking at why to be optimistic for the future, it's not only because you get so much of this core back next year, but you have a player coming in Aaliyah Chavez that there's every reason to be confident that she can be that number one option. She has the ceiling and she has the potential and she has the skills to be that number one option that OU not only hasn't had in a long time, but Jenny Baranczyk hasn't had with this roster. So if you're looking at as good as this season was, where are ways they can improve, and it's having that number one option. So and the good news is you bring in Chavez into a team that's going to have a lot of veterans, that's going to have a lot of returning production, and now I think you're hoping her, in addition to these other new players you've got coming in, I think you're hoping that all comes together and that Chavez can kind of be your missing piece. Now that's obviously a lot to ask of a true freshman, but we see it every year in the men's tournament and the women's tournament that when the going gets tough, you need that number one option. And I think the good news is for OU, as good as this season was, you can feel optimistic that next year could be even better, and you might have an off season where you answer some of these questions that you're left with from this past season. So I don't think there's anything to be disappointed of. If you're Jenny Baranczyk or this team or a fan of this team, this was a really special season to get to the Sweet 16, for the first time in over a decade. And now to compound that with, going into next season where you feel like the ceiling is even higher, that the future is even brighter, that's a hard line to thread. And the fact that this team is doing it should give fans all kinds of optimism for what next year could look like.
To the gridiron, Jesse, how about a quick stock report? 3 players of whom you are buying shares, given what's happened thus far on the practice field for Oklahoma.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest things is obviously Cortland Guillory, right, in that cornerback room. And it's when you get to the spring, it's always about how the newcomers, adjust to things, how the true freshmen adjust to things. But, I mean, it's everything is indicating that he is a guy that OU is going to be able to rely on early in his career. And that's big given that you look at this cornerback room and you've got some talent there, but you've also got a lot of question marks too. And there's a lot in that room that's going to be predicated on health. They're going to need a guy or two to really step up. So if you've got someone like Cortland Guillory, in maybe a situation that is somewhat similar to Eli Bowen last year, stepping up as a freshman. That's a lot of excitement. You look at that receiver room. I mean, you're getting. I mean, there's a lot of buzz about what Elijah Thomas is doing in that room as a true freshman. His athleticism, his speed are big deals. I'll kind of join that with Giovanni Gibson as 2 guys in that wide receiver room that I think that the buzz is real, particularly with Giovanni Gibson. If he can really emerge as a number one guy for this wide receiver room, because, we've talked about it before, but all of a sudden you go from a year ago feeling like the wide receiver room is as deep as any room in the country and maybe the best position group on the team. All of a sudden you've got a lot of new guys. You're replacing a lot of key guys. There's a lot of questions in that room. So if Giovanni Gibson really emerges as a number one guy with good chemistry with John Mateer, that's something to be excited about. And if Elijah Thomas steps up as a true freshman who can also give you some snaps, that's an exciting thing. And then I think when you look, there's a few different places to look, but when you look at the defensive line, I think there's 2 guys. One, I think David Stone is making some real progress on the interior. I mean, he played 94 snaps last year. So I think if he's a guy that can really emerge into a bigger role as a sophomore to add to what you've already got coming back in Jaden Jackson and Dominic Williams and Grayson Halton. That's promising. And then I think look at defensive end, where you've got Marvin Jones Jr., who I think has been what this team was hoping he would be, or at least he's assimilating as quickly as you would hope he would. And I think that, in addition to P.J. Adebayo, I think when you've got those two guys kind of competing in that, for that starting spot at defensive end next to R. Mason Thomas, I think you're seeing the progression from them that you would hope to see. So, again, the spring is sunshine pumping season. It always is. But I think if you really want to put some stock into things, I think it's Cortland Guillory emerging at cornerback. And I think it's Javonte Gibson at wide receiver really, kind of emerging into a number one guy.
Jesse, thank you. Thank you very much.
Hey, I appreciate you guys.
Jesse Crittendon, OU Insider, joining us on the Riverwind Casino Hotline. Speaking of Riverwind, we'll be out there, of course, on Friday. New promotion out for March. The 80K Spring Spins and Wins promotional drawings will be happening on Friday night. If you can get out and play with your wild card today or tomorrow or any day, you're going to get some extra points and some extra chances in the drawings. But on Mondays and Tuesdays, by getting a specific amount of points in your wild card, you can get 5 times entries. Again, that's a heck of a deal for the Friday night drawings. And again, this April, it is the Spring Spins and Wins promotional drawings happening on Friday night. We also have April 12th and the 26th, the Spring Fling Hot Seats drawings happening. Mark those dates down. You can win a share of $30K in cash and bonus play. And again, we have Beats and Bites on the way, just in case you didn't know. April 4th, this Friday. Tickets go on sale for Beats and Bites 2025. How about the first show out in June 14th, Josh Turner and Edwin McCain in July. It will be Rick Springfield, July 19th, on the I Want My 80s tour with a fireworks show to follow, July 19th. August 9th, how about Kansas and Starship on a Saturday night in August, on August 9th? That'll be big time. And then we jump into September 5th. This will be a Friday show with Gary Allen and Drive. And great local food trucks out there. Fireworks again, July 19th. Great music, retail vendors, really cool environment. You can get a season pass also for Beats and Bites this year. Get online at riverwind.com for more details. And remember, the tickets go on sale for Beats and Bites 2025 coming up this Friday. All right, take a short break. Come back. We've got more texts on the way. Jody, we haven't forgot about your question. We'll get to that next as well when we get back right here on The Ref.
This is Sooner linebacker Kobe McKenzie, and you're listening to The Ref, home of the Sooner fans.
They say if you don't like the weather in Oklahoma, wait 5 minutes and check it again. Nope, not there yet. Ah, that's more like it. Being comfortable is important, and if it's -5 degrees or 100 degrees, Norman Air has you covered. Our impeccable quality and unbeatable service is what sets us apart from our competitors. It's just part of our mission to keep Oklahoma comfortable. Visit normanair.com for all your heating, air, plumbing, and electrical needs. Norman Air, service to the max.
Looking for a trusted, locally owned and operated roofing company in Oklahoma? Black Thunder Roofing is a top-rated Home Advisor Elite Service Award winner and recipients of multiple Angie Superior Service Awards. They can do it all. Black Thunder also does free inspections and estimates. Locally operated in Norman and Edmond, Black Thunder Roofing serves OKC's metro area south of Purcell, Noble, Blanchard, as well as UConn, Mustang, Bethany, and Piedmont. Visit blackthunderroofing.com or call 405-473-8028 for your free estimate today.
OU softball, baseball, and gymnastics offer great opportunities for you to get out for some exciting action and support your Sooners. Going to an OU event or game? Balfour of Norman on Campus Corner invites you to stop by and get some new OU gear. Whether it's a softball jersey with your favorite player or just a new lucky shirt or hat to wear to the game, Balfour has everything you need to be in style and showing your colors. Cheer for the Sooners in the best and newest styles in Sooner sportswear. Locally owned for more than 45 years, Balfour continues to be Sooner fans' favorite OU store and has everything you need. Balfour has the latest styles and fashion trends for men, women, and children. You can find something for every Sooner fan. When it comes to hats, they have you covered with more than 100 styles to choose from. Even OU socks, so you're literally covered from head to toe. Graduation is right around the corner. They have OU diploma frames in stock. Or you can always get a gift card so they can choose the perfect gift for themselves. Come see us on the corner or shop online at crimsonproud.com, where you will find everything Sooner.
Hi, Hi, this is Lisa Talley, broker and owner of Aria Real Estate Group. Aria Real Estate Group is Norman's premier full-service commercial and residential real estate brokerage and leasing and management firm. With our team of real estate agents, specialized property managers, and in-house maintenance team, Aria is here for you in every capacity. Whether you're a seller, a buyer, an investor, or a renter, we can help. Please explore our website at ariagroupok.com. Aria Real Estate Group, the gold standard of real estate.
Call the 12th Avenue Chick-fil-A in Norman at 405-310-3189. Let them prepare your party. You'll be the favorite guest when you bring a Chick-fil-A nugget tray, sandwiches, or a mac and cheese tray. It'll be their pleasure to serve you, whether dining in, carrying out, catering, or delivering delightfulness to your front door. Box meals to nugget trays to gallons of lemonade and tea. They have plenty to offer for your next class party, team celebration, or family gathering. You'll be the big-time guest when you bring Chick-fil-A. Call 405-310-3189. And remember, eat more chicken.
Are you looking for luxury apartments for rent in Norman? The Falls at Brookhaven offers stunning apartments and a well-maintained, calm atmosphere. Enjoy our landscaping, a swim in the pool, or take your pet for a walk in one of our 2 dog parks. Our spacious outdoor areas and state-of-the-art amenities will make this new home feel like a resort. All this can be right outside of your door when you live at the Falls at Brookhaven. Call our locally owned and operated community at 405-701-8233 or go online to thefallsatbrookhaven.com to view our spacious floor plans.
I'm Scarlett Johansson. My family relied on public assistance to help provide meals for us. These meals fueled my involvement in theater and the arts as a child, which fostered my love for acting. The Feeding America network of food banks helps millions of people put food on the table. You can join the movement to end hunger by donating, volunteering, and advocating. Because when people are fed, futures are nourished. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/actnow.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Headed down the stretch here. Parker, of course, will have Locked In with Grayson coming up 2 to 3, and that will continue on YouTube. Not NewTube. You been at work at NewTube yet? A lot of stuff on there, man. Somebody told me over the weekend, and I will not name the somebody, Steely, you need to embrace YouTube. It's the wave of the future. Yeah, thank you. I know that. Doesn't mean I like it being the wave of the future. But also said that radio will die. I don't know if radio will die, but radio's in intensive care kind of right now. Sad, because we're going to have more clowns than ever. But you get to pick, you've got an a la carte menu there that you can pick from. Just don't pick the, ramen noodles clowns out there. Be fed by people who know what they're doing. You know what the good podcasts are out there for OU. Parker's on one. But there are going to be more clowns than ever. And also look out for the hustlers. I always said with radio, when they asked me a long time ago, what do you think about this guy or that guy? I said, will that person put the radio station first or some other hustle first? That's the way. But look, everybody in this day and age, it's all about the hustle.
Let me give you the TLDR version of what Steely just said. Just don't listen to Travis Davidson. That's what he's trying to tell you.
I said a long time ago, somebody who had like 4 different jobs, I said, will this person put the radio station first? They didn't listen to me, hired him anyway. Guess what? Didn't put the radio station first a long time ago, and it didn't work out very well. Not going to mention who it is, but didn't work out very well. So anyway, there you go. 405-651-3439. But yeah, you will have to wade through a lot more attention-seeking clowns because they're out there. What are they trying to sell you? Back in my day, it was just trying to do a good show. Know why? Because my day was better than this day. That's why. There's no doubt about it. Thank you. And I'm going to go to sleep. I need the afternoon nap. All right. Jody's question earlier, who will ultimately make the decision if Brent gets on Brent's future? Will it be Jim Nagy as the GM, like Andrew Luck at Stanford, which is the professional model, or will it be Joe C?
No, it'll be Joe C.
Joe Harris.
It'll be Joe C. when you've been the athletic director at the same school for 27 years, you're making those kinds of calls. You and no one else.
So you believe until a new athletic director comes on the scene, then maybe, let's say, if they were 2 years down the road and Josie left for whatever reason and they had a new AD, would it be Jim Nagy then?
I don't know. You're talking about a lot of hypotheticals there.
That's a big hypothetical,
new AD,
for sure.
3 years in the future, and Brent Venables is doing a bad enough job that he's getting fired. So, I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah. All right, 405-651-3439. Knippelmeyers, are you excited about the all-chalk Final Four?
Well, as I said at the very beginning of the show, I haven't been excited about the tournament mostly ever since the chalky round of 64 set the table for what would be a chalky round of 32 and Sweet 16 and Elite 8. But now that we're down to the Final Four, I do find myself getting reasonably excited for these final 3 games of the college basketball season because, again, I think unquestionably we can assess that these are the 4 best teams in college basketball.
Who's the most annoying player left? Con Knippel? Duke?
I don't know. I don't think any of those guys – I don't think there's anybody on those 4 teams that I find super annoying. Even Duke is Duke is likable.
Are they? I guess they're more likable than the Christian Laettner era.
Yeah, certainly more likable than a lot of the Coach K teams of years gone by. I don't hate this Duke team. I don't have reason to hate this Duke team. I'm pulling for Kelvin Sampson in Houston. Let's not get it twisted.
Chad Baker Mazzara, yeah, that's the one. Auburn. Thank you, Blake. And the text line immediately is coming in, too. Yeah, it's true. But should be some good games. Auburn and Florida. Florida's a 2.5-point favorite. Duke's 4.5 over Houston. By the way, somebody texted me earlier because there are a lot of stories about Kelvin going around, I guess, this morning. Kelvin was mean to me. Steely, was Kelvin ever mean to you? No. Now, we did a bit which one of his former players was mentioned. He didn't think it was in very good taste and talked to me about that, but he did it very professionally, and he was right. So it was, believe it or not, I was immature. Still am, but really immature then. Other than that, my interactions with Kelvin were always great, and I've had people, man, I can't believe that I think Kelvin's that. Look, I always had great interactions with him. His wife, Karen, was super cool, the whole family. So I'm rooting for Kelvin. I'm rooting for Kelvin in Houston. How about that start they got off to yesterday? I think if you go into and look, Tennessee, good defensive team, right? One of the top defensive teams in the country. But until you go toe-to-toe with Houston and the way they play the game, I still think they were knocked off their mark a little bit early in the game. A lot of it, actually, Tennessee. What did they start, 95 from 3 or whatever? Oh, my goodness, it was
atrocious. They hit 3 of their first 220 they hit 3 of their first 22 shots from the field.
Yeah. Brutal.
The Rick Barnes crash out was coming at some point.
At least it didn't happen early this year. Tennessee still hasn't been in the Final Four. Missouri still hasn't been in the Final Four.
Does that hurt your orange heart a little bit?
It does not. Although I'm a little surprised you look back. I guess their history's, it's pretty good. Bernie and Ernie show back in the 70s. Bernard King, Ernie Grunfeld, Allen Houston. But, yeah, you would have thought they'd have had maybe, at least one Final Four. But no. But the job that Kelvin has done, this is as good a job done by any coach we've seen in maybe forever in college basketball. Yeah, what about John Wooden? Yes, John Wooden did a great job. He also got the best players. They had a booster out there, too, that was helping out. But, look, I love those UCLA teams. Love the Wizard of Westwood. Great man. But I mean, seriously, Houston, you think about their history with Elvin Hayes, Phi Slamma Jamma. They were nowhere. Kelvin got there, re-energized the program, has done just an unbelievable job. It's one of the best programs in college basketball right now, no doubt. He's a much better coach than Guy B. Lewis. Keeping Drexler in with those fouls against NC State. Stupid.
I want Kelvin to win the championship, obviously for his own sake, for his family's sake, all that good stuff. But also, Kelvin's due, you know?
Feels like
Todd
he
Golden,
is. Yeah.
John Shire, those guys will be back.
They
Bruce
will.
Pearl, I could take it or leave it with Bruce Pearl.
I wonder if Kelvin if he won, if he would think about, would that be it for him? I don't know. Probably not, but he's got such a great thing going there. I mean, they're just a great program. But you know who I don't want to win? Auburn, of course. Everything to do with Auburn feels sleazy.
Really?
It always has.
Is that just because of Scam Newton or what?
Well, they just feel like they're pretty underhanded there. Not that the Sooners haven't had their issues in the past. After all, the cover of SI didn't look very good that day, that week. But it just feels like Auburn is very sleazy in everything they do. Bruce Pearl, pretty sleazy. You don't feel that way about Auburn?
No, I don't mind Auburn. I don't love Bruce Pearl, but I don't mind Auburn.
Hand up on the text line if you feel that Auburn is sleazy. Who is the sleaziest program in the SEC?
Missouri.
Is Missouri sleazy or just...
If they aren't sleazy, what are they?
Annoying?
Well, yes, also that.
Missouri is the kid that was a complete nerd, then inherited daddy's trust fund, and is walking around with the hottest blonde in school in a brand new Ferrari. You know what I mean? That's Missouri right now. You're like, that dude, are you kidding me? Really?
Okay, well, who's sleazier than Missouri then?
I think Auburn is right there. Like I said, I don't know how sleazy Missouri is, but they're the most annoying. LSU has always been very annoying, but right now I'm more annoyed by Missouri personally because of Eli. Auburn is a hoe. There it comes. The first one of the day.
A 918 listener says, notice Orange Steely never mentions the horns being sleazy.
Well, I mean, Texas is just, we've been talking about their sleaze for a long time. They're more of, again, just the arrogance of Texas. That's it. That's why the Aggies call them the T-Sips. The Sips.
Kyle from Southsaw says, living around Arkansas, I got to say their fans are terribly annoying. They have so much money for recruits. They're the sleaziest.
Yeah, Arkansas has been in a pain in the OU's, 78 Orange Bowl. Enough said. 31-6. Are you kidding me? That night, if you're my age, still haunts Oklahoma fans. The Sooners no-showed that night and lost to Lou Holtz in Arkansas.
Ugh.
Brutal.
A 918 listener says, Auburn is very sleazy, and I worked in the OU athletic department when Kelvin was here. He could be surly.
Kelvin, to me, felt like if you were interrupting, and not with me personally, just based on the interactions I heard about, that if he was on a pretty strict schedule and you were impeding him staying on that schedule, he could be surly, I think is a good word. But it's like I've told people that, how can you like that guy, man? He's got, I judge people by my interactions with them. And Kelvin was always great with me. Always had some great stories, too. Oklahoma basketball. Tune into the NBA on ESPN at 2:30 Central Time for an exciting announcement. What could that be?
Shoot, Steely, I don't have a clue.
Jeremiah Fears is coming back.
Yeah, forget that.
Hmm.
Of all the things it is least likely to be that.
Okay, show me that tweet again one more time, Blake. It says, just came out a few minutes ago, Oklahoma men's basketball. Tune in to NBA Today on ESPN at 2:30 p.m. for an exciting announcement.
Following the St. Bonaventure model, Oklahoma is hiring Shams as their general manager.
Yeah. You know what? Why not? Why not? That could be very interesting. You might be onto something there. All right, we got to get out of here. Parker's got another hour to go, getting you locked in. A lot of great Sooner football recruiting information on the way. Want to thank Hightower Clinical. Also, get out and play with your wild card today at Riverwind and get those extra points, extra entries for the Friday night